This is World Awakenings, the fast track to enlightenment with your host, Karl Gruber. World Awakenings is a podcast dedicated to opening your mind, your heart, and your eyes to the fact that the world's population is now, more than ever, awakening to all things spiritual, metaphysical, and enlightening, and just how they play an all-important role in our daily life. So join Karl on this enlightening experience as he interviews metaphysical and spiritual experts to discuss, debate, and delve deeply into the hows and whys of this worldwide awakening.
It's happening.
It's in the air.
The time is now.
We're all waking up.
We're waking up.
We're all waking up.
It's all shifting.
New vibrations.
It's you.
It's you.
It's me. It's all of us.
Together.
A new time.
A new day.
A new energy.
A new energy.
New reality.
Awaken with us.
Awaken with us.
Awaken with us.
NewRealityTV.com.
Hey everyone, welcome to yet another episode of the show World Awakenings, the fast track to enlightenment. I'm your host Karl Gruber, and in this episode number 228, we continue to explore all things spiritual, metaphysical, and enlightening. Now this has long been an area of passion for me as I bring that passion to know, really know, what lay beyond our 3D world of form, to see if we as humans can once and forever rise above the chaos, judgment, attack, and war we live and see on a daily basis. And so it is that I invite you in to share this journey on the road to knowledge. And don't forget that you can now watch this show on the brand new TV network, New Reality TV. And thank you again for joining us. All right, let's check in with today's guest, Theresa Cheung, and she has been researching and writing about spirituality, dreams, and paranormal for the past 25 years. She has a degree from King's College, Cambridge University in Theology and English, and has written several international best-selling books, which we're going to talk about, and that includes her Dream Dictionary from A to Z, which is regarded as a classic in its field. Now, her spiritual books have been translated into over 40 languages. Theresa has dedicated her life to researching and promoting the profoundly transformative and healing power of what is invisible, infinite, and unseen in our lives, right in alignment with this show. Along the way, she has collaborated with leading scientists and neuroscientists researching consciousness and written a series of best-selling books covering a huge variety of mystical topics. And among her numerous books is her newest one, a novel called Nightborn, which we will be discussing. And with that, of course, welcome, Theresa. Welcome to World Awakenings.
Welcome, Karl. What a joy to be here, and thank you for inviting me. I love what you're doing, New Reality, and bringing laughter into this, and showing people that, you know, what is invisible and unseen is just as real as what we can see and touch. So thank you for all you're doing. It's an honor to be here. I'm all the way from the UK, and it's lovely to reach out to the US like this. So thank you.
Yeah, and wow, I like you already. This. But that is great, yeah, because you are in United Kingdom, which is 5 hours ahead of me here in the U.S. So
I got Karl up early, everyone.
Well, and of course, Theresa, I have to ask you what led you into the field of studying neuroscience, dreaming, and consciousness. Were you always interested in these things, even as a young girl?
Oh, yes, I'm a dreaming being like everybody listening or watching. Dreams have been endlessly fascinating to me, but I guess I kind of had no choice really, because I was born into a family of psychics and spiritualists where dream decoding, mediumship, tarot card reading, astrology, as above, so below, was considered normal and natural. Quite an alternative family back in the day. I was home educated too, and had the privilege, still don't know how it happened, I think angels must have been watching over me, to earn a place at King's College, Cambridge University, to read theology and English. And I studied all major world religions then too, and became, during my studies, guess what many people are today. I love all religions. I think they're all beautiful, but I would say I'm spiritual, not necessarily religious. But it gave me a chance to actually understand my own upbringing and an awareness that although I considered it normal to believe in a spirit world and the possibility of life after death being real and dreams carrying great wisdom, not everybody else thinks that. And certainly back in the day, this was in the 80s. As I said, the bio you said at the beginning must be updated. I've been doing this for much more than 25 years.
Oh, okay.
I keep saying that when I go on shows, please update it, and it doesn't get updated. I've been doing this for decades. I'm called the British Grand Dame of Psychic and Spiritual Studies here by Women's Health magazine. Anyway, I digress. So at Cambridge, my belief in the spiritual realm, the paranormal, that dreams matter, was challenged as never before, as you can imagine, in a kind of academic hothouse with skeptics and debates. But it was really good for me because it helped me hear other points of view, argue my case, understand the importance of science and bringing in psychology and how to present this. And I guess the blessing of it was that when I left, I was offered opportunity after opportunity to write encyclopedias in this area. My first books in this area, because I was actually a ghostwriter for health and well-being before for well-known people, because I love writing, that's my passion. But I was finally offered an opportunity to write an element encyclopedia of the psychic world by HarperCollins. So that was an A to Z of everything paranormal. Can you imagine what a gift that was? And this was in the day when it wasn't so mainstream as it is becoming now. And I loved it. And it was 400,000 words, a hardback, like a Bible. And they put it out and it did brilliantly in book clubs. It went to Barnes and Noble, and that led to a follow-up, 20,000 Dreams and birthdays. And then I did a series of angel books, which became Sunday Times bestsellers just by themselves, because my publisher didn't promote this kind of material because they didn't quite know how to place it. In that time, as I said, it was a very skeptical time, but it sold very well because people, of course, are hungry to know about angel stories, about afterlife experiences and signs, about near-death experiences. And I was steadily putting out 2 to 3 books in this area. It's really funny, as you mentioned, my cat's just jumped up, so you may want.
Oh, that's all right. We like kitty cats.
Hello. All right. Okay. This is endorsed by my cat. Sorry. So anyway, I've been blessed. I never take that for granted. I'm very, very blessed. To this day, I have steadily put out 2 to 3 books in this area. Often they're introductory guides or encyclopedias or story collections of people who write to me and share their paranormal experiences. I will edit it, put it together, my own memoirs, my own experiences. I've collaborated with scientists and neuroscientists. One of my most well-known collaborations with Dr. Julia Mossbridge, who is one of the world's leading experts in presentiment, which is sensing the future through your body. And in the Premonition Code, the book we co-authored, I put the case for sensing the future in your dreams. This was back in 2016, 2017. And I've just carried on writing about the Akashic records, about tarot, about near-death experiences, about angel signs. And this year alone, I had the blessing of having actually 6 books out. But up until recently, that's why I'm so excited to talk to you, all my books have been nonfiction.
Yeah.
I wanted to actually, my passion is to mainstream the power of spirit in our lives and the wisdom of dreams. And I figured one way to do that was to write a novel for people who aren't necessarily drawn to nonfiction. So I've really answered your probably many questions there. I do go on a tangent, forgive me, because I do quite a lot of interviews. But along the way, actually, it was during the pandemic that I suddenly started to do media. Before that, I was very much an invisible writer, really, an academic researcher writer, just putting book and book out. And I was quite comfortable in hiding. But the universe had other plans. It said, Theresa, you've done hiding, come and shine. And from 2021 onwards, ITV This Morning over here in the UK, which is a really big, it's national. It has many American stars coming over. Actually, I've bumped into many famous movie stars and celebrities who graced the sofas of This Morning ITV. But they invited me to do a national dream call in because of the lockdowns. Everybody was dreaming vividly. And it suddenly was trending for the first time online. I had the weirdest dream. So the producers thought, well, hey, let's do a National Dream call in. They thought it was a one-off. I've done 37 of those now.
Wow.
My last one was for Halloween, your spooky dreams call in, where I was trying to help people understand, don't fear your nightmares, get excited about them. So that's been a blessing. And that's kind of propelled me to doing quite astonishing media over here in the UK. I've done BBC Sounds interviews with Nicky Campbell, his podcast Different here, all sorts. But it's wonderful because, as I said, my passion throughout has been to mainstream dream work. And thank you for the opportunity to talk to you, because it's all part of what I'm passionate about doing. Anyone who's willing to listen, I want to talk to them about their dreaming mind and what's invisible and unseen, and how to tap into their intuition and realize that there's more to them than meets the eye.
I can say your passion is just about this. It's phenomenal. And gosh, I've written a few books, but nothing like you. I know, to crank out
300 now. Excuse me, my dog can sense my passion. I'm just going to have to pick him up.
Oh, that's all right. We like pets.
Be good for any YouTubing, because we'll probably get more hits with this.
Who is
dog? That's Arnold, who is very needy dog.
Arnold. But, let me go back for a moment here. I'm sure you probably never sleep, so you're busy. But let's go back to when you were a kid.
No, I do sleep. I really cherish my sleep. It's where I do most of my work.
Yeah.
Many of my books have happened in the lucid dreaming state in my sleep. I brainstorm in my dreams. I incubate dreams. I do a lot of my inner therapy, inner healing through the dream state.
Well, I'm just curious. So you said you grew up in an alternative family in the UK that was open to all these psychic and metaphysical things and spiritual things. They must have been hippies. Oh my gosh.
a bit like that. Yeah, my mother was a professional astrologer.
Oh, yeah.
We went from place to place. Difficult. My mother was Dutch Indonesian, actually, and my father was British. But it was a family of people who believed in life after death. The spiritualist community is spiritualist churches, which are beautiful places, actually, because you get many humble mediums who are doing it not for ego or for fame, but every week, trying to connect to the other side for the people that attend the service. And I was attending these from the age of 4 or 5. I wasn't able to connect to the afterlife myself, but because people I loved and trusted did, or appeared to talk to the other side, or proof of survival, if you want to call it that, I had no reason to doubt it. It was only as I grew up and I realized that this was not normal, really. But, everything's come full circle, because right now I believe that it is normal, because more people have had a paranormal experience than have not. If you ask anyone in the street, have you had a dream that sort of played out? Have you followed your gut instinct? Have you had an afterlife sign or an afterlife dream that made you feel that death ends a life, not a relationship? Almost 3 out of 4 at least will have had something mysterious, unexplained, a synchronicity that played out and just made them feel, I'm part of something bigger. And I love the fact now that there are many visionary scientists studying this and collecting all these stories as the data they are in any other realm. This is data, witness statements. But what's actually it's showing is that it is actually normal to have unexplained experiences. And if you're listening and you think, well, I've never had one, you have every single night when you fall asleep and dream. That's a paranormal experience, whether you realize it or not. There is nothing random about your dreams, nothing. And scientific research, psychological research is proving that as well, that dream recall is a sign of a very healthy, active, creative mind where intuition and logic are forming a bridge and giving you brainstorming answers to your issues in your waking life.
So would you classify dreams as psychological, spiritual, or something in between?
Everything. Dreams are all of that. When I wrote my HarperCollins Element Encyclopedia of 20,000 Dreams, which was then slimmed down a few years later to a more accessible, because it was again 400,000 words, to a more accessible, paperback called The Dream Dictionary A to Z. And that's still in print today. It's been in print since 2006 and constantly reissued. I started then very much because, as I said, it was a different time and people weren't as open to this kind of thing, because like channels like yours and the work you're doing, there's so many people now opening minds to this. It's becoming much more mainstream. When I started, I was very careful to present it as psychological and to steer away from dreams being potentially prophetic. I had elements of it in there, but the more I've gone on and when I've been able to revise this dictionary, the more I am convinced that every dream has a psychological element. You can interpret it that way, but you can also see it as a precognition. It has precognitive elements, and also dreams have the potential to connect you to the world of spirit. They are everything. People try and define dreams, and it's almost like they're laughing at us because it's like trying to define life itself. You can't. And people think you can control dreams as well, that if you lucid dream, you can control them. You can learn to navigate dreams and you can get some signposts. But I always compare dream work to, like, if you're a sailor, you can learn to sail on the ocean, but you will never be able to control the ocean or know everything about its mysterious depths. And the ocean will surprise you constantly with new things and new experiences. And the dream world is like that. There are certain guidelines that can really help you understand your dreams better and what they are. But don't ever have the arrogance to think you can define what a dream is. Scientists are fast learning that. They're getting much more comfortable, actually, modern scientists, with questions being the answers, if you know what I mean. And the older I get, the more I feel that our evolution is about getting comfortable with life being a question mark, and understanding that questions actually open your mind. Your brain, actually, brain scans show that when you are given a question, your brain lights up. But when you get answers, it kind of shuts down a bit. So actually, we're seeking the wrong thing. We actually need to ask better questions, because every time we ask questions, we evolve a bit more. And I think spirituality is often just stop trying to find definitive answers or put human qualities onto the world of spirit. It's not going to get you very far. And it does frustrate me, actually, although it's wonderful on YouTube now and social media. You have all these wonderful people with these, they're kind of regurgitating these ancient spiritual truths, which, if you study religion, a lot of it's Buddhism and, esoteric wisdom from the ancients being reserved. But what does frustrate me is if someone says, I have the answer, this is the way, that's a clear red flag, actually. The best spiritual teachers are the ones who are humble and say, I don't know.
Yeah.
But here's what's worked for me. Here's what I've learned. You find what works for you, and let's work together to make this a better, happier world.
And that's well said. I appreciate that. Now, I told you earlier before we started recording that I'm a student of A Course in Miracles. And A Course in Miracles, the modern spiritual guide of non-dualistic spirituality, clearly states that our journey in the world of form in a body is completely an illusion, a dream, if you will. So whether we're asleep or awake, both are actually just a dream. What are your thoughts on that?
Talking to the right person. I'm a Brit. And what did Shakespeare say? We are the stuff that dreams are made on. Even centuries ago, they knew that. And we've all, and studies show actually that in the dream state, the mind doesn't know that it's a dream. It thinks it's real. Isn't that fascinating?
Mm-hmm.
So if you experience something in a dream state, it shows that your mind believes you're capable of it, which is why I encourage people to incubate dreams of them being happy, successful, and fulfilled and doing what they love. Because actually, if you can do it in the dream state, when you wake up, your brain believes it's possible for you. And you would well know, Karl, the power of believing, fully believing from the inside out that you are worthy and something is possible and doable for you. If you can dream it, you can do it. But yes, sometimes, I often find that actually the older I get, I don't know if it's a sign of aging, the more my waking life feels more dreamlike than my dream life. when especially when I'm on the set of ITV this morning, I can tell you that's a waking dream, It's like you get it's like, what is going on? But yeah, I do encourage people who work with me with their dreams, that when they've got some basic dream decoding skills, that they learn to understand their dream symbols, the language of emotion that dream speaks in, to sort of get some understanding of their dreams, to actually apply those tools also to their waking life, because this helps them live life on a deeper level, because nothing then is what it seems. You don't take things literally. You start looking, well, am I projecting here? Is this about my mindset? Does this belong to me or someone else? What's the deeper meaning? And then life becomes so magical, because nothing then feels random. Something you notice, a song you overhear, something that crosses your path, someone you bump into, what you see, everything becomes rich with meaning. So I think that's rather a beautiful way to live your life, actually, to start interpreting it in the same way as if it was a dream, and look beneath the surface all the time. It will help your relationships with other people as well. You will know that what they say isn't often what they're feeling. There's layers to everyone and everything, and it makes life really interesting. You also are able to rise above, because you don't take things personally anymore. You understand that so much of what's going on is your perception, and you can change your perception. That when someone's unkind or hurtful to you, that's often how they're speaking to themselves. It's not about you, it's about them. It really helps you, dream work, have that understanding that you get to choose your mindset. And that's why dream work's powerful, because when you fall asleep and dream, you get a warts and all honest snapshot from your nocturnal intuition of what your current mindset is currently attracting into your life. Because when you're awake, often the noise and the distraction of the world obscures what we unconsciously, truly at our core believe about ourselves. We often tend to lie to ourselves, or not tell the truth, or push things away we don't like to face, get distracted. I often think that dreams are like thoughts of the heart. Your heart notices things that are important for your personal growth in the day, but logic, reason, your conscious mind, just noise and stress block that out. So then when you fall asleep, all the noise and stress of the material world quietens, allowing your heart, which is your intuition, your soul, to talk to you. But it talks to you in this very bizarre language of symbols and emotion. And that's where a lot of people stumble, because they want the dreaming world to be as literal as the material world. And you've got to get over that hurdle. You've got to learn your dream speak. And someone who's struggling with that, I do tell them to just go and do a mini course or read a book about how to interpret a poem. Because a poem, when you first read it, it doesn't make sense. Well, the best poems don't make sense. In fact, every time you read them, they completely confound you. It's like great works of art. And then you have to look at that work of art or that poem and apply certain techniques, symbols, metaphors, associations, puns, figurative language, pathetic fallacy, all these things to get to the deeper meaning. Nothing in a poem or a great work of art is what it seems. And that is exactly, I always think your dreaming mind is a bit of a frustrated artist. But poets and artists are the language of visionaries, great visionaries throughout history. They were very in tune with their dreams. A great artist, Salvador Dali, great scientists, Einstein, the theory of relativity came to him, in a vision, in a dream, because he simply couldn't make that leap, that connection between two unconnected things in the waking state. It was almost impossible, because logic and reason always say impossible. But in the dream state, of course, everything is possible, which allows you to make connections with different areas of your life or other people's lives that you simply can't when you're awake. That's why the dreaming state is so powerful for creativity. And I say to anyone listening who feels they're having a bit of a creative block, just write down your last dream. You don't have to understand it. Don't try and understand it. Simply writing down your last dream will light up your intuition and your creativity, and then create the Einstein bridge between logical part of your brain. We need to connect these two parts of our brain. The problem is just as we separate our dream life from our waking life, I'm on a mission to show they are one and the same. They need to flow. They need to connect all the time, and stop separating them, because both need each other. I see in this movement time and time again, people who have got so into the spiritual message, so in love with it, that they literally become boundaryless and they lose practical application. We're in this earth school for a reason, and we need to, be practical as well. Practical's not evil. It's necessary to help us implement our great ideas and inspiration. It's the balance. And dream work can help you get that balance. If you feel disconnected from your soul during the day, just start thinking more about your dream life, writing them down, playing around with the meaning. Don't think there's a definitive answer. Stop doing that. Just enjoy the beautiful symbolism and vision of your dreams, showing you that you are connected to source, that you are part of something greater, that there is a part of you completely free and liberated from the material. Just enjoy that. And when you start enjoying that, your dreams start really start rejoicing. And then they repay you by sending you even more and more vivid dreams that can help you release stress, dreams that can help you brainstorm, dreams that foreshadow the future.
Well, this is just phenomenal information. I'm trying to absorb it all. I do have this question. Is there any difference between consciousness and dreaming, or are they the same thing?
I think we never switch off. We are awake 24/7.
Yeah.
A lot of people are shocked by that, because actually I've been to sleep labs because I work with sleep psychologists and specialists and scientists. And when you watch people sleep, they are constantly moving. They're still sometimes, but even then when they're dreaming, their eyes are going backwards and forwards because the brain is awake, the body's fidgeting. We don't sleep to rest. Rest doesn't occur in the dream state. What then is the reason for sleep? Science still hasn't got a handle on why we sleep. They have their theories. They know we need to for hormonal release and things like that. But the traditional belief that we sleep to rest, even traditional scientists is now knowing that's no longer the case. We are still active. Our spirit is still busy in the dreams. Our body is fidgeting. And there is a school of research now which is showing that regular dream recall not only is a sign of an active brain, it can actually keep anxiety and stress at bay, which is very interesting. But also there are some scientists who believe that the reason we sleep, and I love this, it's so poetic and beautiful, is because we actually need to dream. The purpose of sleep is to get us to dream. So you could think of it like plugging in your phone at night to charge. We need to go back to soul. We need to just have a reminder of our soul. It's like plugging in back to source. That's why sleep is sacred. And I encourage people listening to treat their sleep with absolute, like a sacred ritual. It is. Prepare for it, because you're going to meet your soul in the dream state. Your body's going to recalibrate. And as the Buddha said, you are reborn anew every single morning. Every single morning is a chance to dream again, make different choices, change your mindset. And if you wake up with a dream on your mind that is disturbing and shocking and toxic, and guess what? Chances you will, because research shows that over 90% of our dreams are anxiety themed. And that's a sign of modern times, because we are so outside in at the moment, bombarded with stresses and to-dos. Don't panic. Turn that fear into excitement. You are being given a kind of heads up. Look, right now, here's your mindset. Now, if you're into the manifesting trend, this mindset, if you carry on without making a change in how you think, how you feel, what you do and what you say, if you don't make a change, you are going to attract the energy of the mindset you're dreaming about. So think of it as an opportunity to course correct if you wake up with a nightmare or a disturbing dream, and an opportunity to evolve, because your dreaming mind is saying, look, you are clinging onto a mindset that may have served you in the past, but right now that mindset needs to be released with compassion. It's becoming toxic. It's not serving you anymore. Let it go. And your dream is showing you that all the time. All the time, the dream is showing you, disturbing dreams are showing you that you need to shed skins and spiral rather than circle. A lot of us in our lives, we circle. We keep doing the same things all the time. And if you're having lots of dreams that are anxiety themed, nightmarish, oh, it's so exciting. It's your spirit, your soul saying, I want to grow. Let go of the chains, the mindsets that are dragging you down, the relationships that are not serving you. Let go of people who aren't on your vibration. You need to elevate, expand, and embody a new version of yourself. And look, every morning there's an opportunity to do that. Perception is reality. That is so much the case. What we believe about ourselves is what we tend to attract. And that's hard if you've grown up in a family where you weren't encouraged to love yourself or take care of yourself, or you had an abusive background. A lot of people have a tough journey, but actually it's a golden opportunity to accelerate your personal growth if you do come from a very difficult background. I'm trying to put a positive spin on it, because you therefore have an opportunity in this lifetime to evolve dramatically. I often actually do feel sorry for people who are born in very easy, excessively wealthy circumstances. And that's why a lot of them are deeply unhappy, because they haven't got that personal challenge. They don't need to, because everything's done for them. And that's why you often see in people who are excessively wealthy and privileged, deep unhappiness. Shouldn't be, should it? Because if the world, what the world tells us, that money, appearance, looks, popularity, success is everything, why are these people often so deeply unhappy? And it's because they haven't done the soul work. They're not reconnecting to their dream. Their inner world urgently needs to find fulfillment.
Well, I just wanted to remind people, if you just tuned in, we are talking to the amazing Theresa Cheung from the UK. She's got a radio show. We'll talk about that too. She's got numerous books. I do want to give you an opportunity to talk about your brand new novel called Nightborn. Let's find out, what is this about? I've been reading some of it. I'll be honest, I haven't had a chance to read the whole thing, but it's pretty interesting.
Well, it basically, I noticed from my daughter, who eats books, particularly romances, she literally is a bookworm. She's never, and there are a lot of people like that who absolutely, but they're all fiction. And if I suddenly thought, well, if I can't get my own daughter to read one of my dream books, right, I need to do what I say in my books, get out of my comfort zone and try a different approach. Because there are people who are going to be drawn to nonfiction books, right? And will purchase them. But we live in a time now where our reading habits are changing, and there's a younger generation growing up. And I thought, I'm going to distill all my dream wisdom, what I've learned through, 5 or more decades now of dream research, into a thriller, a page turner, a story, and early reviews on Goodreads, I've been blown away by them. Thank you for everyone who's reviewed it, saying it's addictive, it's a page turner. So people are enjoying it on that level. It's very out there, it's very weird, it's very unexpected, and deliberately so. People are calling it a thriller that messes with their mind. And that's exactly what I want, because people are writing to me and saying, after reading it or even seeing the cover, and I'll hold the cover up, it's creating a visceral reaction, and they are waking up with dream recall, because what you focus on in the day, or what you notice in the day, your intuition notices, will show up in your dreams at night. I love that. So the book is almost taking on a dreamlike haunted quality of its own just by looking at the cover or reading it. People are thinking about their dreams, suddenly waking up to the potential of them. And so basically what you get is you get a thriller, but also a crash course in dream decoding without realizing it, because all the characters in the novel are Jungian psychologists, dream decoders, or very deep thinkers, or people going through personal transition and wondering how their dreams are going to help them find the answer to the meaning of life or what matters. And it is a very high stakes novel, Nightborn. And I'm loving the reaction because it's surprising people. And that's a mark of a dream. It will surprise you. If a dream, every dream should surprise you. The meaning, if you come to a meaning of a dream, it will surprise you. Dreams aren't in the business of telling you what you already know, right? They will tell you something you don't know. They're always trying to expand you, evolve you. And that's exactly what Nightborn is. It's a very easy read. It's a short novel. It's not a hefty tome. I'm not going to win the Booker Prize with it. It's not weighty dialogue or descriptions, but it is in the style of Dan Brown, whose Secret of Secrets is doing so well. And by the way, my co-author for the Premonition Code, Julia Mossbridge, the neuroscientist, is mentioned in the Secret of Secrets because of her research. He refers to her experiment, which we referred to years back in the Premonition Code, about, sensing the future ahead of time. So... And I thought, well, I want to do it from a woman's perspective, Nightborn. But that doesn't mean to say men are enjoying it just as much. It is a ride. I'm telling you, it is a real addictive thriller ride. And I'm blown away. Not one of my books has had so many arresting, deeply insightful, deeply thoughtful reviews on Goodreads, which I love because Goodreads is the site for people who are really into books. Mm-hmm. And of course it would, because this year, I had 5 other books out. I'm very blessed. I had a book on the Akashic Records. I had a book on rituals. I had a book on dreaming of your future, where I laid out the science of precognition again. And actually, that book was reviewed in the Society for Psychical Research. That's another first for me. That time-honored institution founded by scientists and psychologists, they did a 5-page really glowing review on it. So I'm very, very proud of that. I also wrote a book about intuition. And so many books came out this year, but they were non-fiction. So it proved my point with Nightborn, writing a novel, because, at the moment with Stranger Things about to drop, with the Conjuring universe breaking box office records with Last Rites, with, I think, top 10 on Netflix as an animation, In Your Dreams, people are hungry for this material. And I truly hope, if you are hungry to understand your dreaming mind, but you just cannot be bothered to read a kind of worthy footnote and referencing the science nonfiction book, which I have done in the past, and you just want to be also to dream with your eyes wide open through a story. Because let's face it, whenever you read a novel, you're dreaming with your eyes wide open. You're practicing the dream state. And why is that powerful? I often tell people who are struggling with poor dream recall, read a novel, analyze a poem, look at great art, listen to music. What I was talking about, uniting the intuitive and the logical part of your brain. Every time you listen to music that gives you goosebumps, you are practicing dreaming with your eyes open. And what you do during the day, dreams are very current, will show up in your dreams at night. So give your dreams food to work with. Think of your day as, I'm going to get all sorts of nourishment so that I get a spectacular, wild and wonderful dream that's going to really accelerate my personal psychic and spiritual growth. Think of it like that. And Nightborn will help you do that. And music plays a part in that, in Nightborn as well. Rachmaninoff 2 is the theme that is referenced strongly in Nightborn, and all for a reason. So I don't know what's going to happen with this. People say it should be a screenplay. I dream big. Why not? I can see it there. Wouldn't that be wonderful to get the whole world waking up with dreams and gratitude for them on their mind? Because they will know then that they are spiritual or dreaming beings having a human experience. Because where do you go when you dream?
Yeah.
Psychic experience. Sometimes some of the dreams, these stories are so compelling. You experience things in dreams that you think, how did that happen? Well, it happened because it's from spirit.
Well, I have to tell you, many years ago, I used to work in a used bookstore, and I can tell you that novels are way more popular than most any other genres. I mean, it was incredible how many novels we sold. Now, I wanted the one theme in Nightborn that I find really interesting is that possibly some global power has learn how to manipulate humans' dreams. I mean, do you think that's even really possible?
It is very possible through subliminal flashes, things that we see online to implant a dream seed. Yes, there is research to show it is possible. As I said, your dreams, you take material from your waking life. And if someone came, this is the theme of Nightborn, would you know if your dreams were hacked? And if you had the power to hack a nation's dreams, you own them from the inside out. Would we reach a time when it's not enough for global powers, billionaires, politicians to own us from the outside in through the messaging they give? What if they suddenly find out how to get people from the inside out? So a dream would inspire people to do something nefarious, say something because they had experienced it in a dream, and the dream was so powerful it called them to do something. Yes, this is what Nightborn explores, and I think it could potentially happen. Yeah, dream hacking. I mean, this was explored in that wonderful movie Inception. People are saying Nightborn's a bit like Black Mirror meets Inception. It is that, but I've taken it to the extreme, but for a reason, because I want people who read it to dream big, to not limit themselves, because that's what dream work gives you. If you really do your dream work, which is, incubate a dream, write it down in the morning, brainstorm it, and then the next night continue and treat your dreams like a series, you will understand that you are capable of anything. You are infinite possibility. You will find that courage that maybe other ways of doing personal psychic and spiritual growth aren't doing it, like affirmations or maybe even meditation. Because when you do that, you're awake, you're conscious, and you've got the noise and distraction of the conscious world making it harder for you. And I always say with manifesting, for example, if you go on these courses where they give you affirmations and you have to raise your vibration, you do all these healings and meditations, visualizations. Well, guess what? A lot of people can't visualize. I found that out in my travels as well, that a lot of people, there's so much emphasis on visualization in the self-help movement. What about all these people, myself included, who when they close their eyes, it's blank? Because not everybody can form mental images, but they can do it in other ways. And I talk about this again in Nightborn. You can do it through talking to yourself, through describing, through emotion, through sensations. But if you're doing your manifesting that way and you're not getting results, it's because you haven't started at the core. As I said, your dreams are the truth of you, the absolute honest, dreams don't lie truth of you. Your dreams will give you a nightly report of your current mindset and what you truly believe about yourself, others, and life. And some of that may not be nice. You've got to overcome the fear and have compassion for aspects of yourself. But another great thing about dream work is it encourages you to go into that observer role. Because when you analyze a dream, you kind of look in the third person at it. Studies show, again, I love to quote studies, that whenever you think about yourself in the third person, for some reason, you are more compassionate. When we do things in the I, all these affirmations, I am worthy, I am enough, great, great, great. But for some reason, when it's the I, a lot of us, maybe it's through conditioning, we struggle with that self-compassion. But in dream work, you go into that third person observer role and you start having more compassion for yourself and self-awareness. And when you've got self-awareness and self-compassion, you are so close to self-belief. It's just natural. It just happens naturally. I think dream work is the most neglected manifesting personal growth tool out there. it's never just a dream. It's your nocturnal intuition free from the material world and distraction and ego talking to you about what really matters and what you really need to pay attention to in your waking life. And in our waking life, you see, we deny, repress. We don't notice what our intuition wants us to notice, but we can notice it in the dream state. As I said, dreams are thoughts of the heart.
I do like you talking about the observer effect. One thing that I've learned as a spiritual student, we're taught to what they call rise above the battleground and observe. So, yes, when you're in a third person, yes, you're more compassionate, you're less judgmental, and you're just looking at it objectively.
Yeah, it's and as I said, that it's backed up by psychological research. And it's interesting, actually, I'm sure you're familiar with future self work. This is very similar when you kind of like connect with your future self as well. Think about the person you will be tomorrow and have loving thoughts for the person you are tomorrow, because this makes you realize that your soul exists independent of physical time and that time is not linear. And for example, I know that at some point, maybe this evening, tomorrow, I will reflect back on this interview. Mm-hmm. So if time isn't linear, my tomorrow self, future self, already here. So I greet it with compassion and love and respect. And I just think that's so beautiful. We have this idea of ourselves independent of who we are at this moment in time as having a kind of a long body over time, connecting to all aspects of ourself across time and having compassion for all those aspects of ourself, because they're all part of the wonderful, complex, expansive, visionary soul. They're all part of our soul's journey. And actually, when you start thinking about the future as well in this observational way, again, research shows your brain just lights up. 11 areas of the brain light up when you think about your future self. You imagine your future self being happy and fulfilled. In contrast to when you think about your present and your past self, only about 5 areas of the brain light up. Think on that. Your brain wants you to think ahead of time. Your brain wants you to time travel. Your brain wants you to seek meaning all the time, because that's the natural flow, the DNA of the brain. Isn't it sad that we are taught, often at schools, to go against this natural predilection of the brain, which is to seek meaning, to time travel, to make connections? That's what the brain wants to do. The brain wants to dream decode. Your brain, when you wake up, it's crying out for you to reflect on your dream and try and make meaning out of it. That's what it's meant to do. The mysterious butterflies of the brain, they want to make connections for you. They want to seek meaning. And every time you say to yourself, nonsense, illogical, oh, just imagination, the worst words, I'm on a mission to obliterate, just a dream, your brain sighs. Your brain doesn't like it. A healthy brain wants to be expansive, wants to be visionary, wants to connect their intuition with their logic, wants to seek meaning in everyone and everything all the time, not just, for your allotted meditation, but 24/7. That's the visionary brain. And just go and read some biographies of Einstein and you will see how a visionary brain works. And actually, there's been research to show that Einstein's brain, when they studied it, it was smaller than most brains. But the bridge between the intuition and logic, there's a technical term, was really strong. Isn't that interesting? The Einstein bridge, it's called.
Wow. We're talking to Theresa Cheung. We've got just a few more minutes here. Just incredible information. I'm going to have to go back and watch this 50 or 60 times. But
it's all in there. Much more fun way. And you can get carried away on an adventure.
Just real quick, so maybe you can do this in a minute or two. What's the difference between lucid dreaming and regular dreaming?
Oh, well, lucid dreaming, there's a lot of attention on that because it's kind of like the superstar of the dream world. It's, the movie Inception showcased it so brilliantly, that movie with Leonardo DiCaprio. It's when you're in a dream and you suddenly know you're dreaming. Why is that so powerful? Well, all I've been saying, if you do happen to become lucid in a dream, and you probably did when you were a child, obviously why? Because when you're a child, it's so much easier for you to suspend disbelief. When you get older, logic and reason immediately block that possibility. But if that does happen to you again, and if you start regularly recalling your dreams and paying attention to your dreams, you will naturally lucid dream more. It will just happen. When it happens, don't panic, stay calm. And please, when you become lucid and you're aware that you're dreaming, call into the dream what you want to experience in your waking life, right? See yourself flying, singing, dancing, being happy and fulfilled. Please call in what you want to manifest, because when you wake up, you've dreamt it. Your dreaming mind, your waking mind has experienced it. It doesn't know the difference between the dreams and reality. So therefore, it thinks it's possible for you. And whenever you think something's possible, that's when it starts to happen. And it's when you start to raise your vibration and attract it. But don't get hung up on lucid dreaming, being the holy grail. And, if I don't lucid dream, I'm a failure. A lot of people can't lucid dream. There are techniques to activate it. I don't recommend them because they interfere with healthy sleep. Only do it when you're on holiday or at the weekend. It involves waking up early, sitting up for about 20 minutes, journaling, going back to sleep. Because in the early hours of the morning, you're much more likely to become lucid because that's when you're more in REM. But I wouldn't recommend it because sleep is so important for your holistic well-being. But every single dream, in fact, in Nightborn, we don't even talk about lucid dreaming because most people can't achieve that state without going to a monastery or something. 99% of our dreams are symbolic and potentially precognitive, foreshadowing. They are just as awesome. They are just as powerful. They are doing the night shift every night for you, trying to show you things which you need to notice in your waking life because they matter, because they are what will bring you true fulfillment. But for some reason, you're just skirting over them, you're avoiding them, you're running away from them, or you're denying them in your waking life. So every night, your dreams are like your best friend or your inner therapist. They will show you things sometimes that are harsh or unpleasant about yourself, but they're not doing that to judge or criticize at all. They're just holding up a mirror to your mindset for your growth. Mm-hmm. So you can then identify, if you don't know what's blocking you, how can you make a change? Think of it like a school report card that you get. Every night you get a report card on where you are right now. And what relationship, what situation, what habit, what mindset, it's most often mindset. What mindset needs to change, needs to shift? Because when you create an inner shift, that's when the outer shift happens.
Well, Theresa, we're going to have to wind up here, and I only asked like a quarter of the questions I had. This is just...
Sorry, I talk too much. It's because I've been around for a long time, and I just... blah.
Well, I just encourage people to go get a copy of her amazing novel, Nightborn. It is a page turner. And also your popular show in the UK called The Healing Power of Dreams. I imagine people anywhere in the world could probably go online and listen to that too.
Thank you for mentioning that. Yes, this summer I was asked to host my own radio show on UK Health Radio, which was an awesome opportunity because UK Health Radio, it's an independent radio station, but been running 12 years and has close to 2 million global listeners now. But it mainly focused on mental and physical well-being. But thank the Lord, the founders are beginning to understand, what you're talking about, Karl, and, wonderful work that you're doing, that soul is part of the holistic well-being equation. So they've offered me a weekly live show, and I find that incredibly stressful, actually. I didn't realize I love the pre-records that I do for my White Shores podcast, which is still running as well, if you just want a more gentle, relaxed, because the Healing Power of Your Dreams is a live weekly show where I have a special guest, like I've had Evan Alexander, Charlie Morley, Claire Johnson, Dean Radin, people like that coming on. I've got Laurie Lowenberg coming on. It's every Wednesday live. So it's quite difficult because the timing is 3 to 4 p.m. London, UK, or Greenwich Mean Time, because our clocks have changed now. We're not British summertime. But it's 3 to 4 p.m. every Wednesday. But the founders said, look, if we're going to do this show, we'd do it live. And a wonderful thing about the show is about halfway through, there's a Zoom that opens and listeners can join the conversation. Now, it's wildly unexpected. It's terrifying because we don't know who's going to drop in. But I love that because sometimes in this movement, people are very isolated. And I've loved the fact that sometimes other experts have jumped in to the conversation and surprised an old friend on there. Or people can just join it and say, look, I had the weirdest dream. Help me understand it. But as I said, it is scary because when you book a special guest, and especially if they're American, which a lot of these visionary scientists and psychologists are, I'm terrified they won't show up. And I think, oh my goodness, I'm going to have to talk for an hour. But so far they all have. Laurie, you're here this Wednesday, so please show up. But yeah, it's fun. So I do that. And of course, I'm ITV This Morning. I do the National Dream Decoding, where they open the phone lines to the nation and share your dreams with Theresa, where I'm kind of like a dream agony aunt.
This sounds amazing, but really, we really do have to stop here. But one last thing real quick.
I do have to go. Sorry. You see, that's the trouble. I know something's great, Karl. Credit to you. When time, I'm usually very conscious of the time at these. I've completely lost track of time. So that's down to you.
Well,
thank you. I know something heaven sent when time just vanishes, which it just has.
What's your website? What's your website too?
www.theresachung.com, or you can find me on Instagram at the Theresa Cheung. I'm also on X and Facebook, but I have to figure out those platforms. They kind of keep changing. I am on there, so you can message me there as well.
You are so fun. I love it. Thank you, Theresa. Thank you for an amazing conversation. I love it.
Thank you so much. And sweet dreams, everyone. Well, actually, not so sweet because we don't learn in our comfort zone. Wild and wonderful dreams, everyone. There we go.
This has been another episode of World Awakenings, the fast track to enlightenment with host Karl Gruber, a certified law of attraction life coach. We welcome you to tune in to each and every episode of World Awakenings as we open your mind, your heart, and your eyes to the fact that the world's population is now, more than ever, awakening to the truth of all things spiritual, metaphysical, and enlightening, and just how much they play an all-important role in our moment-to-moment daily life. Much love and light to you, my friend, and thank you for tuning into World Awakenings.